Welcome to my next YouTube video. Today I'm doing the 50 random facts about me tag. I have made a cheat sheet because I probably can't remember 50 things in a row. I honestly have the memory of like a goldfish, and I thought it would just be best to make notes so that I remember what I'm talking about and hopefully don't bore you to death in the process. Fact number 1, I am 6 feet tall, in bare feet without my boots on. And I was awkward about that when I was younger, but now that I'm older, like, I love every inch of it. I wish I was taller. Generally, I'm wearing, at least 4 to 5 inch platforms, and I usually have the giant Death Hawk, so, we cheat in all ways possible to make ourselves taller because tall girls rock. Fact number 2, I grew up in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like, literally way up north in a town with a population of 500. That's it, 500 people. And yeah, it was very, very boring. And as I got, even when I was little, I was the only weirdo up there, and it just got more awkward as I got older until I moved away. Fact number 3, I have 47 piercings. And counting, more to come probably in the future. I just have to find space, which is getting harder and harder as time goes on. But, my piercer is fabulous and creative, so I'm sure he'll find room. Fact number 4, I make most of my own clothes. I'm sure that a lot of you guys know that if you follow me on Instagram. Today I'm wearing something that I didn't actually make, which is bizarre. This is a jacket from Punk Rave that I happen to really like, and an antique hat. But like 90% of my clothes that you'll ever see me wear, I make myself. My shoe size is ladies 11 AA narrow, which is a pain in the ass to find shoes for. So that's generally why I'm wearing boots, because I need ankle support because my feet are so narrow, they just slop around in the boots all the time. I love old horror movies, and I mean old horror movies. Like, I don't mean like from the 80s, like Freddy Krueger and Leatherface and all that. I mean like old, like 1930s, like Vincent Price horror films. I just love them. Black and white and like skeletons on fishing line, that kind of stuff. Absolutely love it. I have a university degree in theater and costume design. That's what I went to school for. And, obviously I make costumes now, so I guess it kind of paid off. That works. I am terrible at directions. If I ever give you directions, don't listen to me and don't follow them, because I'm absolutely terrible. I can get lost in a paper bag. Luckily, I am not stressed out by being lost. I spend most of my life being lost, so I'm just like, meh, it's an adventure. We'll get there eventually. I just usually give myself extra time to make sure that we do have time to be lost on the way there, because that's probably going to happen unless somebody else is driving. I mostly hate new technology. I don't even have Facebook. I'm sucking at Instagram. I'm learning, but I'm not very good at it. I don't like computers particularly. I don't like tablets particularly. I have a BlackBerry, and that's only because they forced me to get rid of my flip phone. I am not a lover of technology. I prefer showers over baths. Not that that's a super fun fact. I think most people do, but yeah, I much prefer showers. I find they make me feel cleaner. I have a collection of oddities in my house. As you can sort of see, I guess you can see the X-ray light over here and some old poison bottles and my Cemetery Mary. But yeah, I have a collection of antiques and oddities. I spend most of my summer going around to like flea markets and finding cool and interesting things to like drag home and decorate my apartment with. Before I shaved my head, I was absolutely terrified, like absolutely terrified. I had long, really long hair, if you can imagine it, for most of my life, and I never knew anything else, and I was so scared. But now that I've done it, it's like a superpower. Like, you can shave your head and it'll grow back because it's just hair. It makes you feel like you can do anything and like it doesn't matter. It's fabulous. I have 10 tattoos. Also, you're probably not surprised, but I have 10 tattoos, which will also become more lately. I kind of only started getting tattoos when I started running out of room for piercings, so I have a lot more real estate yet to be covered with tattoos, so that's a little bit easier currently than finding more room for piercings. I make corsets, which kind of goes with the I make clothes thing, but like not really, because corsets are more specialty. Yeah, I make corsets, and I wear corsets frequently, and some of my corsets go as small as 18 inches. That's the smallest that I've worn to date, but you never know. You never know. It might get smaller in the future. We'll see. We'll see how adventurous I get. I love cooking. Cooking and sewing. You'd think I'm basically like the mother off Leave It to Beaver over here, right? But I do. I absolutely love cooking. And I have a bunch of old cookbooks. I have some of Vincent Price's old cookbooks. And I just love spending an afternoon in the kitchen, like making something delicious for dinner. I still have a VCR. I know, right? It's like, I love old VHS movies. I go to the thrift store, I'll buy them for like 25 cents and bring them home and watch these absolutely horrible, horrible movies. And then if they're not that horrible, I give them back. And if they're absolutely like downright terrible, then obviously I have to keep them, because those are just the kind of movies you can't find on DVD, and it's such cheap entertainment. And my partner hates my VCR, and I refuse to get rid of it because I just love it. I still have a portable CD player, which I am told almost every day is uncool, and I don't care. I love, love, love my portable CD player, and I listen to music on it all the time. I didn't learn to drive until way later than I should have. My parents begged me to learn to drive, and I just did not want to learn when I was 16. So I waited longer than I should have, and then I regretted it. But like, you know, I guess you got to do these things when you're damn well ready for them. I have terrible artistic skills. I seriously draw like a 2-year-old. I draw like little stick figures, and I always make a joke that like I'm a fantastic artist, but like, really, I'm not. It's pretty funny. I enjoy my stick figures, but like they're not good art. I absolutely love the smell of leather. I absolutely dislike the smell of perfumes. I get headaches easily, so most perfumes I find very obnoxious on my head. Like they make me feel not good. So I generally don't wear perfume, and I don't like it when people douse themselves in perfume. I just prefer to avoid that whole body spray perfume area. I used to play in a Scottish bagpipe band. Several Scottish bagpipe bands, actually. I was a bagpiper for many years with a few bands, but like I don't own my own pipes because they're expensive. So I was just borrowing pipes from the bands that I was in, and then when I left that area, I couldn't have pipes anymore. So I'm super, super out of practice, but I really enjoyed it. It was a really good time, and I really enjoy the sound of bagpipes. My dad builds hot rods, and I am not allowed to ride in them. He builds these hot rods, and they're beautiful. They're gorgeous cars. I'll have to see if I can put a picture of one up for you guys. And yeah, I'm not allowed to ride in them because I am too pointy and too scratchy and too covered in metal. So he says the day that I am wrapped in bubble wrap, I will be allowed to take a ride in one of his cars and not scratch the paint on them. Bad grammar drives me crazy. Absolutely crazy. One of my other major in university was English, and I can't, like, there are certain authors that like I can't even read because their grammar just drives me batty, and like I want to correct it all the time. And when I see people writing on the internet, sometimes I just have to walk away from it because I have a problem where I just want to correct everyone's grammar all the time. I am very loud in person. I'm sure you find that shocking and hard to believe, but I am. As a former drama kid, I am extremely loud in person, and my mother's always telling me, you know, use your indoor voice. But the drama teacher always told me, you know, project. So somewhere in between there, I came used to being very loud, and yeah, you can hear me coming, that's for sure. I very much like mechanical things. I like looking under cars and like looking inside of things for like to understand how they work, like how mechanical mechanisms go together. And I find that very useful, not because I like to build mechanical things, but because I like to use those pieces in the outfits that I create. So I find them the inside bits are very interesting, and like understanding how they function. Having bare legs makes me very uncomfortable. I can't, like, I'm not one of those girls that can go around in the summertime that just like can wear bare legs with shorts, or like even with a swimsuit or something. Like I have to have at minimum fishnet stockings on, at minimum, if not several pairs of fishnet stockings and or leggings, because I have tattoos on my legs, so you think I'd want to show them to people, but like I don't. It just makes me feel weird, and like I don't like it. If you take away my collar and you take away what's on my legs, I feel absolutely naked, and it's bizarre. The movie Labyrinth, which I'm sure you all have watched like 400 times, as have I, it used to scare the crap out of me when I was little. When I was a really little kid, Labyrinth scared the bejesus out of me. Those little guys that pop out of the floor and switch the tiles around on her, I couldn't handle those things. Those were just absolutely terrifying, and I couldn't watch that movie for the longest time. I am double jointed. Not everywhere, but like in some areas I am extremely double jointed. This thumb in particular we're about to demonstrate is particularly double jointed. It like folds all the way back. And it turns around. Lovely. Grosses a lot of people out. But yeah, I have a fair amount of double jointed bits. And yeah, it was a talent of mine to gross out the other kids when I was young. My real name is Missy, which is why I go by Miss E. It was a joke for a long time that people didn't believe my name was Missy, so they'd always be like, is that your stage name? And I'd be like, what stage? What the hell are you talking about? And then it became a joke that like I just went by Miss E instead, and that was my stage name. And then people are like, what's your real name? And I'm like, Missy. Get it? I am almost constantly being asked if I'm in a band. Like everywhere I go in public, people are like, are you in a band? Are you in a band? Like, it's like they can't understand why you would look like this if you're not in some sort of band. Like, why do you look like a rock star if you're not a rock star? Which I find very flattering because I like looking like a rock star, but it gets tiresome after a while when you're asked for like the 10th time in a day. I love tacky religious stuff, like glow in the dark rosaries and stuff, and like tacky Jesus statues with like gold all over them. I absolutely love that stuff. I have my whole bathroom decorated in it, which I call the Holy Crapper. And it's just covered in absolutely terrible religious stuff. And I just love it. It makes me super, super happy. It's so tacky. I dislike incense for most of the same reasons that I dislike perfume. It gives me a headache, and I just don't like it. I tend to avoid stores that burn incense. I don't find it pleasant. My background is British and Irish. Again, unsurprising because of the skin tone, but you know, my grandmother was British, my father's family was Irish. So there you go. I have an absolute fit if I try to wear more than one color at once. Like I can wear black with white, or black with red, or black with purple, but like not black and red and purple and white, because it freaks me out. Like I can't handle it. I feel like a weird circus clown, and I just can't do it. It has to be black and one other color, or just black, and that's it. Naturally, I have very curly hair. I know you can't tell because like it's pinned back really tightly right now, but I have hair very much like Shirley Temple. It's very, very curly, and I keep it pinned tightly until I need. The volume helps for making the death hawk, but like generally I try to keep it intact because like it's not cute when you're not like a little kid. I live with 9 mannequins. This is Edgar over here, who also goes by Captain Fabulous sometimes. The other ones I'm sure you'll meet in various videos. They're based around my apartment in various spots. And one of my mannequins is dressed like Jareth from Labyrinth. So I have my own, very own David Bowie in my house, which is pretty spectacular. I own my own embalming table, which you've probably seen in previous videos. It also doubles as my dining room table. So that's where we sit and have dinner. It's where, you know, I put presents on special occasions or whatever. Sometimes I do photo shoots on it, but it's pretty awesome to own your own embalming table, except that it weighs 450 pounds. It's solid cast iron and enamel, and it weighs a fucking ton, but I absolutely love it. I also own my own coffin. Future planning, I suppose, but it also doubles as my coffee table. I have a mannequin in it. She lays there, and we dress her in different outfits for various occasions, and we lit the whole inside up with LED lights. It's quite pretty. It's a nice display piece in my house. I also own my own medical gurney, which we sometimes use as a buffet because like the dining room table is not that wide. So if you've got like plates and stuff on it, there isn't really room for also the food dishes. So we tend to put them on the gurney and use it as a buffet. But I've used it for all sorts of things. If you just need to like wheel stuff around or like whatever, extra bed even for someone to sleep, it's really multi-purpose, and it's fantastic. I collect old records and play them on my gramophone. I have a stand-up gramophone, which I bought from a flea market, which came with some records, and ever since then when I find them, I don't even know what most of the songs are, but I just buy records at random if they're cheap enough, and I come home and put them on my gramophone while I cook. But the problem is you got to run back and wind it like every 2 or 3 minutes because it keeps winding down, so it gives you a bit of a workout, but it's super fun. When I was little, I used to think that padded bras were for the winter. Obviously, what else would they be for? Because they have that extra padding to keep your boobs warm in the winter. I am frequently mistaken for a man. When I go out in public, a lot of people, or not even in public, sometimes at my work or like wherever, a lot of people mistake me for a man, which, sounds kind of odd, but whatever. Maybe it's the height, I don't know. Either way, I don't find it offensive. I don't care. Like some of the most beautiful people that I know are men, so whatever. Doesn't bug me, it's just I find it kind of strange. I am almost always freezing cold. My partner runs really, really hot, and I run really, really cold all the time. So he's usually sweating his ass off, complaining about how hot it is. And I'm piling on extra blankets because I'm just freezing. Like the tips of my fingers are freezing cold all the time. Maybe it's all the metal in my body. I don't know. When I was little, I once tried to make my own parachute. Being a creative soul, even back then, I stole many, 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 many plastic bags from my mother and taped them together with packing tape and duct tape and all other kinds of tape that I stole from my dad. And I hid it under my bed. At first I hid it in a shoebox and then it got too big. So then I just started like folding it nicely and hiding it under my bed. And my mother was wondering where all the hell her like shopping bags have gone to. And secretly I was stealing them and taping them together to make a parachute. And one day when I thought it to be big enough, in the winter time, like I said, I lived up north, so there was a lot of snow. I climbed up on the roof and jumped off with my parachute, which needless to say failed. But at least there was really high snowbanks, so I just like fell on the snowbank and everything was fine. But yeah, you think that would have ended my inventing career, but like it didn't. It really didn't. I am excellent at climbing trees. Again, a product of growing up north. I spent half of my childhood like up a tree somewhere. So I am very, very skilled at climbing trees and going from tree to tree and not falling out and hiding from people up trees. And I would take food up trees and eat up there. It was a really, really great place to spend like a lot of time and mostly avoid people. I legit use antique parasols all summer. Like literally almost every day all summer, I carry a parasol around with me. Not an umbrella, mind you, a parasol, which is a different thing. And I find that they're actually very, very useful for keeping you shielded from the sun. I wear sunscreen anyways, but like even still they keep you cooler. Like there was a reason that Victorian ladies used them and like they're marvelous as far as I'm concerned. I have no idea why people don't use them still. When I was little, I used to think that when you hit puberty, your nipples automatically turn brown because my mother had dark brown nipples. And since I didn't, I thought that was like something older people had. So I thought that when you like, you know, hit puberty and got older, your nipples just changed color and became brown. And that's how you knew you were mature. If you had brown nipples, then one day you just wake up and like you'd be mature just like that. I swear a lot. Like in real life, I swear like a sailor. It's terrible. And when I'm at work, I turn it off, obviously, because like customers, I'm used to not being able to swear at work. But generally in real life, I cuss pretty frequently. And, you know, people get used to it, but it's just what I do, especially when I'm sewing. And last but not least, when I was little, I used to be painfully shy. I know it's hard to imagine now, and that's probably why my mother stuck me in theater classes, but like honestly, when I was little, I was so shy that she didn't think I was going to be able to go to school. Like I would really literally hide behind her skirts and like not be able to talk to people because I was so nervous, but got over that, didn't I? So anyways, there you have it. 50 random facts about me. I hope you enjoyed them. Hopefully you learned something. Yeah, so if you like this video, you should subscribe to my channel and I will make more videos when I have time.